All right, everybody. So, welcome back to the True Leon Army podcast. Today, we got special guests, JayVez and Day, local
Peace.
entertainers, and I love their music. I love their content. Their name's going to be appearing right here on the screen. But today, we're talking about evolution of an art form with regards to music in America. Given that they're both artists and I would say subject matter experts, I wanted to bring them on and just kind of talk about it. And we were talking offline just a few moments ago, and JayVez was just dropping knowledge, man. Please enlighten my audience on what you were saying with regards to the evolution, because I levied that there's a lot of music coming out today that's just not quality.
Not it.
They make stuff that I feel like they're not passionate about, and it's I would say it's all over the wave, all over the airforms and everything. And I don't think it's indicative of what quality music is, but it's subjective. So, JayVez, go ahead and tell me what you was talking about, man.
First of all, peace to the people out in podcast land, YouTube land. We were discussing a dope topic, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure.
First of all, and we were just talking about
the evolution of an art form.
The evolution of an art form being that of music, American music. And I was just, we were talking about the state in which, us as a collective, where we at right now, as far as music is concerned. Billboard Live just happened not too long ago. I think Diddy just hosted it.
Mm-hmm.
We got to see some of the top artists perform. And it's just a lot to unpack right there. When you talk about the state of the of where we at, mm-hmm. as a conscious community. You know what I mean?
So what type of music you make? How do you relate to it? So let's start there. Like, how do you?
Okay.
What's your contribution to
it? The contribution to today's music, I just really try to provide an alternative to what's out there, because I feel like it is oversaturated with a lot of low vibration. Mm-hmm. And I just look to bring just awareness of that low vibration, mm-hmm. and then an alternative for those that feel the way I feel. Like, dang, man, I want to be fed when I listen to the music. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So sure. I try to be that and stand in that gap. You know what I'm saying?
What about you, Dave?
Well, so not only do I make music for the soul, I make music for the heart. Only because, like, I used to always, let's start, not to be funny, but I used to literally only listen to Future. So I know both sides. I know the side of, being blocked in and thinking that this one person is, your entire life, in a sense of, like, how you got fans who, they surround everything they do around this one person that they don't even know. They don't mm-hmm. even know this person, but they know their music and know mm-hmm. what they tell them. And, I got to seeing how music really was, before I even started music, and seeing how, like, people only did things for the people, mm-hmm. which is, hear me out. It's cool until you're not doing it for yourself no more. Mm-hmm. That's when you lost,
So is that, and I would say coming from a consumer standpoint, mm-hmm. I've always, I was the type of cat that I would take my hard-earned money and I would go buy albums. Mm-hmm. And back in the day, before the Apple Music or I would say the streaming music mm-hmm. phenom that goes on now, you had to be very careful on who you go and try out, because, you may get a hit record, but that whole album is trash. It was like no passion and love into it. But now I'm starting to run into artists that I would never even think to buy the albums, and then I'll download it. I'm like, shit, man, I've been sleeping on this person. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But these are not the cats that are in the mainstream. Yeah. And I start separating myself from the mainstream. And I was watching something the other day, right? Because you remember back in the day, JayVez, when we was younger, how, like, cats used to be like, the shit we was listening to, it's like, man, that's trash. Yeah. Like, it ain't good. It's whack. Yeah. And they were always knew the source music, because they was like, nah, that's from back in the day when I was younger. Mm-hmm. Right. But we resonated with the music back in the day, because I felt like, was the source. Yeah. But now a lot of the songs these kids listen to don't even know that they're pulling from us now. Mm-hmm. They pulling from the 90s and the 2000s. Mm-hmm. pulling Tupac's up. I mean, literally, and I'll play a section here on the video so you guys can see it. But they literally, a lot of the most popular songs now are regurgitated. Mm-hmm. So when I seen that, I had to kind of reevaluate my position on it, because if we're listening to the same things, and as my buddy Sean said, there's nothing new up under the sun, it's just coming back around. If that's the case, is it really bad music at that point, right? Because if we resonated with the song back in the day and maybe just a reinterpretation of it, it's technically, we all like the same music, right? So is it bad? So what is bad? What is bad music, I guess? So
you don't mind me going?
Yes,
so I feel like people, when they redo songs or they redo parts of a song, they pick the fun parts of it, not the real parts.
Okay.
So they pick the parts that go viral, in a sense. You know, the parts that's like, okay, yeah, people are going to like this. Not I'm going to like this. You know what I'm saying? It starts with that. You know what I'm saying? You got to at least like it. Even if you don't love it and you know what you're doing with it, you know, that's the difference from you just not even liking it. You just doing it because, you know what I'm saying, 20 of your followers said, please do this. You know what I'm saying? People ask for stuff, but they don't know what they want.
Yeah, exactly. And I can say that, but I don't think that's the case for all artists.
Not for all.
Oh, okay. Because I think a lot of times, like I seen somebody use Lauryn Hill song, and it was hot, man.
Yeah,
it was hot.
It was hot. It was,
I haven't heard that.
Yeah, it was. And I'm gonna pull it up, man, for other people to see it. But it, you know, and I would say everybody at this table would resonate with Lauryn Hill and the contribution she made.
Of course.
I think it was like one main studio album, but it fucking lives on forever.
Beautiful.
I think I listen to it probably like once a month.
Get one classic.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess when we say like the evolution of an art form, is it really evolving if we're constantly going back, utilizing what was before because it's not original?
Okay, go ahead.
I would say there's nothing new under the sun, and with all things that evolve comes a familiarness to it. You know what I mean? It's something that you, as a chemist, you take something that you're familiar with and something that you're familiar with, and you put it together and you create something new. Okay. But without those two elements, you know what I mean? Well, you have to still, because
it's a familiarity with regards to what we've come accustomed to as a society, like the norms, and when we
because in each one of those things, there's great innovativeness in them. You know what I mean? So somebody had to, in order to push them to standard, someone pushed the envelope of theory to a point to where we're like, dang, this is the top. This is it. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then somebody did that over there, and then we took this, because it's kind of how what I do with the music that I do. You know what I mean? With blending reggae and hip hop to create a whole new sound or something that people like, yo, I like it. What is that? You know what I'm saying? And really, all I'm doing is taking something that's familiar to me, something that I grew up to, something that resonates with my spirit, and then putting it together and making.
That put me in the mind of like Dane Marley a little bit.
Yeah,
like
Lauryn Hill. If you listen to even the artist she was talking about with Lauryn Hill, like she's taking old songs, like I think it's The Sweetest Thing. That's not even her song.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that either.
So you know what I mean, like
the Ready or Not is not hers.
Yeah. Because with her record label, she had access to these songs that they own. So you're like, okay, you got these songs to pick from. So she take those and she makes a brand new thing with them. But because we grew up in the era in which she was the hottest thing, that becomes standard for us.
Right.
But so with the evolution of it, it is something new. I feel like we may have hit a plateau, because there's other elements that go along with just music. When you're talking about politics can be involved with how the music is going, and that's evident across the
pushing messages and stuff.
The message in which what's being pushed, trends. You know, what's trendy at that time has a lot to do with where the music is going. But I feel like it's ever evolving, though. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not in the sense of what we would like to see it go, but, you know, every artist that becomes the next big thing, I feel like they're bringing something new to the table.
Sure. Think about that.
I agree with that. But I just feel like there's always different parts to it. Like, there's some people, they'll give to the art, and there's some people who steal from the art. You know, some people who, like, say, like, how some people, they like I said, I'm not against trap. You know what I'm saying? I'm not against like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not against all that because I think everything is a part of the spectrum and what makes, music whole. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, but some people they use like things were meant for a positive message to promote their negative message, which you know what I'm saying. I just feel like people should stay true to themselves. You know what I'm saying? Continue to use, you know what I'm saying, what benefits them and whatever lane they're in. You know what I'm saying? Continue to push that. We got a little bit of everything. You know what I'm saying? So new artists that's been coming out, like
it caught that. Go ahead. I'm playing.
It's all good. Yeah, so new artists coming out. Like I like a couple of new artists coming out, but at the same time, I listen deeper to see like if they actually are having passion towards what they're doing, or if they're just because I feel like trends are actually like affecting us negatively. It's it's taken away from the actual like
art form.
Yeah, emotion and passion of actually doing the music and like like. All right, I know I ain't gonna speak on Kendrick too much.
Hey, he's trending right now.
You know what I'm saying? It's trending right now. But like I'm saying with Kendrick's, like I feel like he really dug deep in himself to really like, you know what I'm saying, give something that we all needed. Everybody get what they want so much that they're not even, you know what I'm saying, they give you something that you need. It's just like, oh, I don't want this. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. And to piggyback off of that too, like with trends and purpose, you know what I mean? Like they can benefit each other if they both are involved. Kendrick being a perfect example of that, because I feel like, you know what I'm saying, what we just heard these last couple of days, you know what I'm saying, what's been released has been both trendy and purpose filled. You know what I'm saying? That's what makes a great, a whole different dynamic of martyr or standard, you know what I'm saying? And the moment that we continue to hold our artists, the artists that we listen to that kind of standard of, you got to be saying something when you step out here, you know what I'm saying? And that's the moment that we get back to.
But when we don't hold them to that standard, right?
Yeah.
Because and just to piggyback with what you just said earlier, if an artist isn't, or let's say they're going with what's trending and they're following a wave, which means you see there's such a dynamic in the output of music, because although Kendrick has evolved tremendously, there's still being a consistency on his delivery, on his style that people who are fans, all of us that are fans of Kendrick, always come back to that. Just like Pusha T's new album. Oh my God. Like, man, I probably listened to that damn thing like 30 times.
30 times.
Like, legit. I mean, and it was, it's one of those things where finding like the young rappers now that come out that seem like they put no effort into what they put out. The beat is nice, and I feel like the young people they not concentrate on what's being told to them. They just go along with it, and then you never hear this artist again. This artist is gone, and they're out of here, and they don't live the test of time. So I say for those who define the evolution of music as an art form are the ones who are able to transcend. I think Lauryn Hill is a perfect example. She didn't come out with many albums or many works, but her contribution will be talked about, I would say, 100 years from now.
Forever.
Literally. And not just on some one-hit wonder. She wasn't that. I mean, it was so much passion and so much energy. I mean, you ever get in a moment with your girl and you put on X Factor and play it loud so she can fucking hear it. Like,
I'm singing it too.
Yeah, like, shit, I want you to hear this.
Go back.
I like these songs. Yeah, it's real.
And that's the fear I have with the trajectory of music, that now it seems like promoting violence, and not as this is what is around us. It's more so like, I'm promoting this because I got to do this to sell. I got to do this. So is that more indicative of who's listening to it or who's making it? Because if I listen to a song, right, and they just aiming guns at the damn screen and they're literally just promoting a lifestyle that's counterproductive to what's conducive for a society to thrive, as you stated earlier, JayVez, that we need to hold them accountable. When you come out, what are you talking about? Like really, really, what are you saying?
Well, I think the way that we do that is because today the consumer has more control over what he consumes more so than any other time that I've been alive on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was growing up, we had the radio, and we had
No
106
control.
in Park,
Right.
and we had HBO, and we had these shows, these programs, right? These programs would be programmed to play a certain thing at a certain time.
Right.
Today, we can literally go program our playlist and listen to whatever it is that we want to listen to.
So it
We
says
ain't
more
gotta
about us, then,
never.
right?
We don't have to ever listen to anything we don't want to. We don't ever have to even consume. If you want to watch the movie that you want to watch, back then we had to go wait for it to come around. Go
You
pull
had
out
to
the TV
wait.
guide. When it's
Right.
coming on.
Right.
Now you can literally on demand it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Or so at the end of the day, I think we have to realize how much power we have over our own consumption. And in that consumption, we hold the people that's getting paid the big bucks by who's getting streamed the most.
Right.
You know what I mean? We control our playlist now. Nobody controls it. We can go, you on your Spotify list, right? Spotify playlist right now and say,
But I guess the only issue I see with that is that I had came on a while back, and you made a good point that although we say it's free choice, because that's basically what you're saying, right? It's free choice.
no,
But I say it's to a certain degree because a lot of the artists that I resonate with now, I had to dive in and search for them.
no, for sure.
I had to literally, that I probably wouldn't even heard of them if it wasn't for the streaming services that
Right.
we
For
have
sure.
now. And I listened to them and I was like, how are you guys not more popular?
Sure.
How are you guys not more? But to continue with what my guest stated, he stated that there's a conglomerate of individuals who choose what's being pushed to the
Mhm.
masses.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
although it seems like these other people are really hot
Mm-hmm.
and all of that, we're just, to me, I believe we're getting conditioned
Mm-hmm.
to believe this is
Yeah.
This is what's hot.
this is quality.
Once you go ahead. Jay,
No,
I
you
thought was about to say
okay,
something.
well, you said conditioning triggered me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, they definitely do condition you to what they feel like you should listen to. Like when you said like the violence thing, that's what's popular. That's not what's important.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's popular, you know what I'm saying, that's what goes with the trend thing, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So
Mm-hmm.
if you're gonna listen to it, it don't matter if you like it or not. Once you get that view, you get that view. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So if you got 1 million people who view it and they hate it, you got 1 million views either way.
Either
You know
way.
what I'm saying? So it's just about what people will look at, what will catch people's attention. So that's
Mhm.
why, like, the first 5-10 seconds of a song, you kind of have to, you got to give your all. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Even if you do like an intro, it has to be a inviting intro to where you want to listen
Yeah.
to the rest of the song.
Yeah.
That's why, like how you said, Lauryn Hill, like in the beginning of it, you already feel like it's a hit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You already
It make
feel
you
like
feel
that.
a certain kind of way.
Yes.
It comes with, and that's when and you can really tell by how the track impacts your life. Almost, you can tell
Mhm.
how passionate that person is about their music because they really put that. You like it comes through the speakers on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
almost,
feel
know
it.
what
I
I'm
mean,
saying?
literally, you could be feeling an emotion.
Because
and-
music is that of an expression. So
Mhm.
whenever I express anything, it's for someone to understand where I'm coming from. Whether I'm sad, whether I'm mad, whether I'm getting money, whether I'm, fucking bitches. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah,
gonna
for sure,
be
for sure.
evident in that track what kind of energy that I'm putting out, and that's why I feel like artists have to be very intentional when they put this on because once you put it on a record and you put it out there for people to hear, it ain't just for you no more.
Yeah, they taking it for what it is.
They taking it and they're gonna digest it how they digest it. So
I mean, it's the same. I think I use the same concept when I'm making my podcast.
yes,
As you stated earlier, are you trying to be trendy or are you trying to put like information? It's a balance, I believe,
Mhm.
because you want your information, what your content, what you put your passion in. You want it to be in front of as many people as possible.
Right.
And a lot of things I learned going against the grain or the norm or the social norms, I should say, I've got backlash on a few of the subjects I made just because I questioned it.
Yeah.
And just like questioning some of the content and the music that's perpetuated in our culture, I'm starting to find a problem with it because I felt like when I was younger there was more of a balance. It was understandable because we grew up in that area, we grew up in that lifestyle. It was always around us, and it seemed that you were still able to find things that you can resonate with, or even if you didn't see yourself in this positive light or it wasn't
Right.
around you, you were able to see that demonstrated in the music that you listen to. Now I feel like that if you don't resonate with talking about killing somebody or just like all the violence that goes on in Chicago, right?
Yep.
And a lot of that's happening because of the fucking music. Well, it's more to it than that, but it gets amplified when they make diss tracks about dissing the dead, and they normalize things that I couldn't even imagine. Even if I hated somebody, I'm not gonna disrespect that dead person. I
Yeah.
wouldn't even think that's not art to me. That's following the trend.
Mm-hmm.
That's, let me put this out here's gonna get views, not because I'm lyrical.
Yeah.
It's because I'm disrespecting somebody and people gonna listen to it. Then eventually I may end up on a t-shirt. For what?
Right.
Following a trend. And that's what gets to play. I like Lil Durk. I think he's a really good rapper. But I feel like that is he starting to be one dimensional in all the subjects he's referring to is
Yes.
all about killing somebody, hurting somebody. And that's the thing that get to the masses.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I feel like it's not indicative of what quality music is, which is why you, as you stated earlier, what Kendrick Lamar dropped is what we needed.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, man, this is what we needed. This is, you see, he could work with all of those artists, and when they come on his songs, he set the tone.
Mm-hmm.
Like the song he just had with Kodak,
Mm-hmm.
he set the tone for that.
Yeah.
And I'm not even a big Kodak fan, but I was like, man, Kodak did his
He
thing on
did
that.
his thing.
He got
made
more
him
my
elevate.
respect for that. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
He made him elevate.
Mhm.
And really what it really comes down to is being able to control your direct proximity. Being able to affect, like, okay, I'm not trendy. I'm not trendy because I'm not on topic of what things should be, but or what things are. You know what I'm saying? But you have to ask yourself, who's controlling what the topics and what the trend is.
That's the conglomerate.
Consumer.
That's
And the conglomerate being,
I won't say it's the consumer.
I wouldn't even say the consumer because the consumer is only getting most of what's being put in front of them.
Okay, yeah.
So
facts. Okay,
if I'm not controlling the algorithms, who is controlling the algorithms to say that this should be seen more than this? And I use TikTok to be an example. TikTok is a China-based app, I believe.
Yeah,
Is it?
But
it is.
it is. So this is what Trump had an issue with it being over here when Trump was in office, is because it was basically them influencing us through an app that we didn't control in the United States. So the
There was
thing
more
with,
to it than that.
yeah, no,
but
I'm sure
yeah,
it was more to it, but that was the premise of it all, is that that's not ours, right? So the thing is, over in China, the algorithm on TikTok is, if you're doing something innovative, if you're doing something that feeds the mind, that's more trendy.
Yeah.
And on the TikTok algorithm in China, but in America, it's if you're doing something more stupid. If you're doing something like a dance, or you're doing something that doesn't inspire the masses, then that gets more. So you have to say to yourself, who controls this app, this algorithm? Because if they control the algorithm, whoever they is, right?
Mhm.
And then you have to say, well, why is this more important than this?
Well,
Because it's a root problem in what we're talking about. It has nothing to do with the artist. Because the artists are only doing what's getting them paid. But you got to say, well, why are you paying me more for this than you paying me more for this?
Mhm.
And if you're not holding someone accountable, then you have to say that these people, most rappers are coming from a more poverty-stricken area, to where it's like, whatever you can, if I got to talk about this, that's what I'm gonna talk about. But those of us that are a little more smarter than that, we have to say, like, hold up, it's two people in this game. There's a victim, and then there's the person that's the puppet master that's running this situation. Once we can identify that person, then we can study that group of people or that conglomerate of companies, and then say, we're gonna figure out where the power structure lies, and then we're gonna hurt the power structure where the power structure can be hit at.
Yeah.
Because as an artist, it's ours. You control what you're gonna put out, regardless. And we have to remove the fact that money is driving us because we're gonna always be a victim in
But
that standpoint.
I know you said money isn't a driving point, but it is. And the reason I say that is
No, I didn't
because,
say it wasn't.
well,
I
I
said
mean,
it can't be.
but it is. And
Yeah.
what I mean is that we can't escape it. Like we could say it can't be. That I think that's hopeful thinking because at the end of the day, you remember back in psychology, it talked about like the motivations was sex, money, shelter, something like that.
Mhm.
You know, but
Empowered.
it's natural things that men and women strive for. It's that dopamine hit, right? It's that natural dopamine, and if this is paying more, hey, guess what? I'm gonna do this type of content. Is it sad? Is it counterproductive to what a thriving society should be? Yeah, I think it is, and I don't think it's indicative because a lot of times where people that I resonate with and talk to, when I look through we go through your Spotify list, go through my Apple Music list, it's not indicative of anything that's popular per se on the mainstream
Right.
music, and that's where I find the issue with, definitely, and that's why I brought you guys on here because you guys make content, and I messaged you like I went to an event that was outside. JayVez invited the wife and I, we went to go see it.
Okay.
And I hit him up. I was like, hey, bro, you put me in the mind of Lupe Fiasco. I don't know if you remember me saying that to you.
Okay. Yeah. I've heard.
Yeah. But you put me in the mind of that because Lupe is nice with his rhymes, but he pushes the message, and I think he's able to balance that. And he came from Chicago, so he technically should have been a statistic based off where he came from, but that didn't. Even Kanye, but I think Kanye and him are a lot more versatile, and I think will live the test of time and actually depict the evolution of an art form when it comes to music. I think it's just sad that these, and I don't call them outliers. I wouldn't say these cats who are one-hit wonders are outliers. I just think that it's indicative that the what's pushed as the norm isn't. And what the puppeteers are doing it for, maybe is to make us look bad in the image, or just because you stated before we did this, you said we popular all over the world, and being a guy who traveled quite a few places, I'm telling you, you'll have people on the other side of the world singing songs and rapping songs, and it's all the ones that we wouldn't even pick. It's just the ones that's on the mainstream. So we're very popular. Our art form will live the test of time.
Yeah.
I just wonder how much control do we have, man? Like, because you said all
we
day.
have zero control.
Yeah.
We have after we go main, we start to deal with these bigger companies that get us out to the masses. We don't have really much control of what's being put out unless we start to hold ourselves to certain standards. And that's why I feel like J. Cole's, the Kendrick Lamar's, the Erykah Badu's, the Lauryn Hills are very important because they show us that it can be done, but you have to really you have to really dig into your bag. Like you can't
there's such a small percentage.
The rich is a small percentage too. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about 1% of the population, and so to say, you have to, as an artist, you have to decide what kind of artist you want to be.
Right.
Are you a Picasso or are you Joe Schmo? Because if you're a Picasso and you want to affect people on a wire sketch platform, then you have to be mindful, because this message is not only for you or the people that you know. These messages are for the kids,
for
everybody. So it's like you have good and bad, because that creates balance.
But
so you're gonna have good artists, you're gonna have bad artists.
Right, but let's look at it from a standpoint. Let's say with teaching, right? They're talking about that teachers are underpaid, right? That they and the job of a teacher, I think, is a lot more important than what people let on, because they technically control the destiny of the kids.
Technically,
right?
The future.
So imagine if we create a society where they're rewarded more, right? Meaning they get paid more. We would get better talent in. And what I mean is that although we say money isn't it shouldn't be a motivation, but we have to be honest. If you're working on your craft, right, and you're doing it for years, and and deep down in your core, man, I'm better than these cats. I'm doing everything, because although you all don't have the barriers, just like I don't. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
able to make a show and put it online, but it comes down to the algorithm.
Mhm.
Same thing with you both.
Right.
If you
Mhm.
make your content, you put it out there. It's a lot of it's based on who's pushing it.
Mhm.
So if you're not able to get your music to the mainstream, you're doing it for the love of it. It gets to the point where you can't put the same passion, let's say someone who's mainstream, because you got to put food on the table. So if you're
Mhm.
sitting here and you have to decide, well, do I go to work tonight or do I go travel for this event?
Right.
I can't, because although this event may give me a few leads,
Mhm.
it may not put me in a position because the control is out of my hands. I mean, a lot of the artists who go independent, they get the most horror stories. Am I not right? Who are quality?
Yeah, no, for real.
I would say that the ones that has made it make sense are the ones that have never quit. They've always found a way. It doesn't come down to whether it's lucrative or not. It comes down to purpose.
Hmm.
And if your purpose is for you to do this one thing, then no matter how much it's paying, you do that one thing. You might take up a second job, you might take up a third job,
Mhm.
but you never stop doing this one thing if that's what you feel in your heart to do.
But don't you see it as a barrier, though?
I, I don't, because it depends on what you value. It all comes down to perception. Because if you value um, touching just the people in the room, and if one person in that room is moved by what it is that you had to say, and that filled you up,
Mhm.
then that's what you live for. If you living for nice things, nice clothes, and comfortability, then
Mhm.
it may not be enough for you. So it comes down, and it has nothing to do with money. It has everything to do with value, and your value and what you put on yourself. You see what I'm saying? And what you put on your purpose. If your purpose is not valuable enough because the world says it's not valuable enough, then that's your problem.
That's
I can
That's
see that.
not the world's problem. But the
Mhm.
moment that you say, you know what, every time I wake up, all I can think about is music.
Mhm.
All I can think about is going to the army, or all I can think about is family. Then you figure out a way to make family lucrative.
Mm.
You figure out a way to make purpose make sense, because your gifts are always going to make space for you. They're always, no matter, even when it looks like it's not, it always does. I don't care in what scenario. And anybody that you've ever talked to that has worked through the long and the hardships of what it is to become an entrepreneur and a successful one,
Mhm.
they're gonna tell you, yo, I thought this was over. I was down to my last dollar. I was living out of my car. I was doing all of these things that would say that I should quit, but
Mhm.
I didn't. And that's why I ended up Tyler Perry. That's why I ended up
Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey, these
I-
guys. So
and I would agree with that too, man. Because you know, you have to have that passion that exceeds when you're down to your last dollar, and when you're in even negative.
Yeah,
Because
that's
that
what's gonna tell
passion
you.
purpose.
yeah, that passion and purpose.
Yeah,
And
man.
I but I feel like that we still have to identify those type of barriers that prevent those people from exercising their art to the degree, because
Fear is the only barrier.
well,
Fear, when at the principal level of it, fear is the thing that keeps you from not wanting to do this, but because the industry says I gotta do this, I'm gonna do that.
mm-hmm, I
Fear
agree
of
with
not
that.
having enough, fear of not being who you think you're supposed to be. Fear. And the moment that fear is removed, you say, you know what, I'm gonna do this no matter what, because this is what I feel on my heart. You know what I'm
Right?
saying?
Yeah,
Fear is the barrier.
yeah.
See, personally, I think that it's okay to look stupid.
We
Yes,
got to
sir.
be willing to be bad at something to be
Oh
good. I agree
yeah,
with that.
man.
You know what I'm saying?
Ti, for instance, just got booed, but he keep going. He's gonna be one of the best comedians.
Yeah. The quicker you knock out everything you're bad at, you can find what you're good at.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take 20 years to try out something that you knew you was already gonna be bad at, you took 20 years to do something that you knew you wasn't gonna stick with. So it's just like you kind of gotta pick. You gotta pick what battles you want to have to deal with, because you got everything on the outside, whether you have a relationship or what I'm saying, a family, or what I'm saying, your job in your ear or whatever. But your jobs, they're only worried about what they can get from you. So everything is about, I feel like everything is about benefit.
Mhm.
And then once you look at it like that, you look at it more of a business perspective, how the people who are above us look at it. You start to get more out of everything you're doing, because you start to have more, like you said, like purpose. You know what I'm saying? You start looking with a different perspective, So you know what I'm saying, you're not looking for, okay, is this fun? Because it don't really matter. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter.
Some days it's not gonna be fun.
Yeah,
I mean, I even
like,
think
exactly.
my studio's in my living room.
Yeah, man. Hey, and one day you're gonna be in a big ass
Yeah.
space, and you're gonna say, "Damn, man, I
So-
remember when I was in that living room, boy.
Yeah,
I'm glad I ain't stopped."
I mean,
You always
and
remember
I'm
that
glad
living
you guys pointed that out, because I think that definitely with being an entrepreneur or starting any business, anything you're passionate at, you have to be willing to be bad at it and look stupid and make mistakes. I was talking to my wife when I started this. A lot of the videos in which I were making, I was making so many mistakes. So now anybody help, I'm like, hey, I'm charging, because all the hours and countless time I put into learning this and developing this, I can't do it for free, because if you're not willing to put in that work, which is fine, I'll do it for you. But you have to be willing to be bad at it, and you have to not care about. I mean, sometimes my content doesn't get the views that it should, but not because it's not good, and I know that. It's because of the algorithm and things as such, and that keeps me going, because I am cognizant of the guests I bring on, the content in which I discuss, because the goal I have in every video that I make is for whoever's listening, right? To come out with a message. Like, we're talking about the evolution of an art form with regards to music, but I believe that can apply to anything you do with any business.
Yes, sir.
Like, I mean, you guys hit it on the nose that, hey, you know, it may not resonate. It may be the puppeteers up top saying, hey, this is the only thing that's gonna make it to the mainstream. But it's like, you know what? I know that if I'm able to find within my phone the quality music that I resonate with, and get somebody gonna find me. And,
yes,
and that's the message I like to give to my listeners, that somebody's gonna find you, somebody's gonna listen to you. Keep making your music, and don't feel like you have to fall in line with this this violent
you don't
culture.
And back in the day, maybe when we was growing up, maybe you did, because there was not an outlet. MySpace versus Facebook is very advanced, you know what I'm saying? So I just appreciate platforms like this, you know what I'm saying? Because I'd rather deal at the grassroots. You can choose what level you want to stay on, because there is lucrative situations down here. You don't always got to be number one podcast. You ain't got to be the number one artist to make your situation make sense, because really what it's about is, at the end of the day, we can't take none of this stuff with us. So it has to be about legacy. It has to be about purpose. And when I always take my life and I relate it to that of a tree. You know what I'm saying? A tree is a tree on purpose. And the tree is not to do anything on this earth but to be a tree and to drop seeds and bear fruit that other trees may grow later on. You know what I'm saying? Not even trees that they gonna see. But I'm here for the next generation. You know what I mean? So there was 1,000,000 years before us and 1,000,000 years after us, and we're just a blip, right? In that time. But what we do with that blimp can affect the next 3 to 4 generations. So when we talk about the evolution of music, we look at our ancestors as guides. We look at the people that come before us, the James Brown, the Tupacs, the NWAs, the everything, that anybody that we look up to, and we say, this is how we got here, where we at right now. How am I going to affect this particular time? Am I going to affect it negatively? I'm going to affect it positively. Has nothing to do with the algorithm, has nothing to do with the puppeteers, has nothing to do with what's trendy. How I'm going to affect it. You know what I mean? What's my purpose? What tree, what kind of tree am I? You feel me?
And I'm glad you focused on the legacy, because as we're making this content, it may be somebody 30 years from now sitting here watching and listening to this. And the legacy, I actually did a podcast talking about the importance of legacy. And it was crazy when we were younger, right? We didn't think about legacy, because you have this,
not at all.
You have this feeling that I'm gonna live forever.
I'm gonna come outside.
I ain't going nowhere.
Video games tomorrow, man.
I ain't going nowhere.
I'm gonna be here forever, and I think that it's this book I'm reading right now called Atomic Habits.
Okay.
Atomic Habits, and when you break down atomic is the smallest thing that's not divisible anymore. And the purpose of the book talks about how if you want something to come about, you have to start. Like, I put this in my living room because I used to have a problem. Every time I sat down, I would play a game. So I put this in a way to distract me from doing what was more comfortable for me, to change my habit and to to push me to say, okay, let me sit here and make content. Let me sit here and read. Let me research something, and that's where I know it's going to pay off. And like you said, it may not be the #1 podcast. It may not be all of that, but when I get those listeners who give me that feedback, even if it's good or bad, you took the fucking time to listen to what I had to say.
Yeah, man.
Time out of your day
Yeah,
to
man.
listen to your song or whatever, or come to a show and listen to my content, because
I always appreciate.
And if you can do it once, you could do it 1,000,000 times. You just
Mm-hmm.
got to figure out how to duplicate it and do it more efficiently. But again, you got to be passionate about it, because the money ain't always at the front. The money might not even be in the back. But did it make you feel good? Did it fulfill you? Did you feel like when you laid down, whatever you did that day, was it purposeful? I think that we have to put more value in that, and even the low vibrational things are necessary. So that's why when I see young cats like my man Day coming and he's I'm going to the open mics and he's like rocking with everybody. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, that reminds me of me. And you remember me, I was on it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yo, but I have to find value in that. I can't look at the cat that's popping because he got the strippers on the stage. Boom, boom, boom. I find value in those that are putting in the work. And then that's where I'm going to spend, because it's about legacy, right? It's about passing that torch.
But that's a true evolution too.
Because
those cats who are popping, a lot of times when they get out of that phase, they usually regret that content that they make.
Yeah.
They wish it could be taken down. And I think
Future don't even drink lean, y'all.
I didn't even know that.
I've heard that. I've heard that too.
Yeah, he'll tell you. He watches it, so, but because he came in the game doing that, he's stuck doing that, or he's not gonna sell no records. So yeah, be mindful.
Yeah, definitely, because I think if we're not conscious of the content that we're making and conscious of the legacy that we're leaving behind, it'll be more destructive and damaging for future societies. That's crazy. I did not know that man did not drink lean.
He don't even drink it, man.
You know, a lot of people, 50 Cent don't drink at all.
50 Cent don't even smoke weed.
Yeah.
Okay, but he got a song called "Get the Dutch and the Haze and the Chocolate and the Spark and the Light I Spark Shit."
We watching you, 50.
Come on, man. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And I love 50. That used to be my favorite rapper. But the reality of it is, like you said, the content that's being put out is not what's really being portrayed in real life. And I think that us that know this, the younger generation, we have to be that of the passing down the torch and the holding up of standard.
Yeah.
Saying, Kendrick, I like what you're saying. I'm gonna spin the hell out of your shit. I'm gonna starve everything that's not feeding me the way that this is feeding me. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna do what they're gonna do because it's always gonna be a negative content, but that doesn't mean we no longer have to interact with it if we choose not to.
Yeah.
My Facebook, right? I see on my Facebook people complain about how much people are talking about this or how much people doing this, when literally you can control your whole timeline just by unfollowing. There's a option where you can not even unfriend a person and just unfollow them and not even see they thing, but still be their friends. So my thing is, when I get on my Facebook, my stuff is filled with affirmations and good. So I get on Facebook feeling good.
But
you know what I'm saying?
And I think there's a place for both, because I think that there's a reason why people are concerned with what is being presented, because it's the minds that are very impressionable, right?
Yes, sir.
And rest in peace to all the people who just got killed in Buffalo, New York.
Yes, sir.
That guy was motivated by what he's seen online. That's the part where we have to stand up and say, hey, let's start controlling. Because I to a degree, I don't believe in censorship, right? And what I mean is that because I think it restricts true artistry. But to a degree, we have to have a balance, because if somebody could get online and culminate this whole thing, and we see what he's digesting, we say, man, how did you get from here to going to kill somebody? How did you make that decision? Conditioning, right? Yep. You know, they used to
shown
say,
certain things,
right, and
following certain groups.
yeah, follow some groups you online, and
Mhm.
and you be like, damn, you know, I find passion in this.
That becomes your reality.
It becomes your
You
reality.
have to be mindful of your timeline. I audit my timeline often. Like if I've friended you and all you've put up is negative stuff,
Mhm.
I get you up out of there.
Yeah.
I don't unfriend you,
Yeah.
but I'll unfollow you, and
Mhm.
I'll never see your post ever again.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Because the reality of it is we have more control over our lives than we take responsibility for now.
And
We'll make a post complaining about what we see in our timeline, not taking into consideration that we can control our whole timeline.
So I'll give you a perfect example. So there's a huge influx of people who have been complaining about the content that's put on like Netflix, Disney, and other platforms that are, to a degree, appears to be conditioning their children. And I had a problem with it, right?
Mhm.
I disagree with the content. And I said, you know, well, you can always exercise your voice by just not paying for it. Just don't stop paying. But also too, if you, I mean, you can fucking not click it.
Back in the day, you didn't have a choice. Whatever was on TV, that was on TV.
Right.
That was it. If you didn't have cable, you watched 4 channels. Now you literally got multitude of platforms to watch. They got Black Tube and Yellow Tube and White Tube. If you just want to tune in to what you want to tune in, you can. Like there's not even space to even complain anymore. Like if you're dealing with something right now as far as like consuming, that's because you're choosing to do it.
I think the complaining comes from them not wanting to change, but they want things to change.
Change for them.
You know what I'm saying?
Microwave society.
You know what I'm saying? So you get into a point where like you stuck in your ways, but you want your ways to change, and you can't have both. You know what I'm saying? You have to literally leave yourself to see what you're doing right or wrong.
Yes, sir.
You know
That's
saying?
the paradigm versus the algorithm. You know what I'm saying? The algorithm is controlled by other people.
Mhm.
Your paradigm is controlled by your habits.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The moment that you switch your habits is the moment that you see everything around you start to change. You know what I'm saying? So,
and that's a good optimistic outlook on it too. And with my podcast, I try to be very subjective in the sense of look at it from both sides, because there's a reason why people are complaining. There's a people. I mean, I made complaints about the type of music that's being put out, but as with the choice, hell, I just ain't downloading your shit.
Yes,
or I'm not gonna watch it, or
Yes,
I'm not going to now. And as you stated before we made the podcast, shit, I may not agree with it and I may vocalize it, but that doesn't take away from your artistry, because that's what you decide to put out. No different than what the videos I've been seeing, just like on streaming platforms. Like fuck, man. Like what were you guys thinking with presenting that to children or to people? And people are going irate about that shit, man. But like you said, at the end of the day, fuck that. Click, turned off, it's done.
Blocked.
And
you ain't gotta worry about
it. I just feel like in today's society, right? The onus, we don't want to take the onus off the people who make the content, because if it's something like you look 10 years down the road, could you look back and say, because there is a difference between growth, meaning like I may not agree with the decisions we made in our 20s or teens, and hell, shit, we could talk stories all day on decisions and moves we made when we were younger, but as we grew older and developed, we became wiser. But I believe those decisions were made based off ignorance, but I don't feel I regret them because it made me into the man who I am. Right. But when I see some artists literally come out and be like, man, I really hated that fucking album, because when I was talking to the execs and I pushed my album, they pushed that whole fucking thing back. Man. But then when they end up dying, that be the shit that get the love. Be like, damn, bro, why ain't y'all never put this out? This is the quality stuff that
y'all
I ain't even
trying to hear.
Well, it's that again. It's about agenda, and it's about high and low vibrations and who's operating where, right? And because and earlier in the podcast you said that you had to go dig for the good stuff, right? And we got this thing in my camp what we call it digging in the crates, because you literally.
Oh, like the records.
Yeah, like the records. Like you have to dig. Even back in the day, if after you had a whole bunch of records, you went in there and you found the one that resonated with you. So it's the same. It's no different. We just because we look for everything to be handed to us. We look for everything to be given to us the way we want it. Then when we don't get it how we want it, then we complain about it. When reality of it is, you can go get it yourself. We complain about the grocery stores, but
Or
we can
make it
grow our
yourself.
own food.
Mm-hmm.
We complain about the music that's out there, but we can we can go find the good music now and block all the B. Like I got a Pandora playlist that I've been cultivating for like 7 years with the thumbs up and thumbs down. Like I got the perfect playlist. Like I don't hear nothing that I don't want to hear anymore.
Right.
I don't even really listen to rap that much, but I respect it. The young cast is coming up and whatever their expression is, because I remember at a time that was my truth, based off of what I was consuming though. You know what I'm saying? Based off of the level of which I was living at. And when we understand that there's levels out here, then we decide what level we gonna operate on and what we gonna consume, what we gonna eat with our eyes, ears, and mouth. Yeah. And then that's your life. That's your algorithm.
It don't really even matter where you start, and that's what people think is a big difference. Like you can start from anywhere and still end with greatness. You don't have to you can start from a negative, you know what I'm saying, a negative outlook. You don't even have to have you don't have to think like, okay, I wasn't positive before, so I should never be positive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It just all depends on what resonates with you. Like most times people don't really change their ways until like maybe a life and death experience, or you know what I'm saying, maybe something that really made them want to give up. Then they had to literally dig deep. And you could have already been doing that. You know what I'm saying? You could already been picking what was really important for you and what really hits for you specifically, because nobody really knows what hits with it. You know what I'm saying? Nobody really knows what hits until they hear it. You know what I'm saying? Like even with music, it's a lot of people who listen to music who they only like it because people around them like it. Or, you know what I'm saying, they might even have a music they want to play and everybody's like, turn that off. I don't like that. Like, but who cares? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, if I'm playing music, you know what I'm saying, it's really based off what I like. You know what I'm saying? I get people who say, oh, I don't really like that. I'm like, all right. Still playing though. Still playing.
Because you control your atmosphere.
But I respect
at the end of the day. And it is about respecting everybody in your space. But my thing is, I try to keep people around me that move the way I move. You know what I'm saying? So that I can play my playlist and not feel out of pocket. Because if anybody make you feel out of pocket for being you or digging into what you're dealing with, that's probably not. They probably don't really need to be in those spaces anyway.
Well, I agree with that to the extent that I still like to challenge people's perception on what's quality music. Because definitely, like with my children, a lot of times we would sit and listen to music, and they'd be like, "Man, I'm not feeling that, Pops." And it's straight up in their fucking playlist though. They straight Shazammed it. And like didn't want to
like that.
They had to grow on them.
It had to grow on. And it was no different when I was listening to my pops music. Like now, a lot of the songs that I enjoy the most is shit I listen to with him. And you know, so I definitely don't want it to be where you only surround yourself with people who agree with you or who resonate with you, because I feel like in order for true growth, you have to be willing to challenge what you like and open your plateau.
Well, and what I meant, let me clear that up. What I meant is people that make you feel a kind of way about listening to what you listen to.
Being yourself.
You know what I'm saying? Like being yourself. Like be like turn that off. Like that. Those type of like are play what you play, and I'm gonna play what I play, whether you like it or whether I like yours. I'm still, okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I mean when I say that. But yeah, no, for sure. Like because I like to be inspired. So if I'm constantly around people that only like what I like, then I'm never gonna be challenged or
and a lot of the hit songs that I was looking at, a lot of the things that they pulled from for inspiration didn't even look like songs that almost 90% of the young people would even think to fucking listen to.
They even know. They even know.
Even with Drake, like I fucks with Drake, but a lot of his source material, man, the reason
Drake used a lot of African beat music, and a lot of people don't even know that that's what that is. Like I'm like, yo, like Drake has been a pioneer, and that's one of the special things about Drake is that he stepped outside of the norm of what everybody was sampling. You know what I'm saying? Because every genre has sampled the previous one all the way to blues. You know what I'm saying? When we talk about, when me and my guy was talking about blues and ragtime being the marriage for jazz to be invented. You know what I'm saying? From the core of every American music to follow is that of jazz. So, you know what I'm saying? You think about that. Everyone is pulling from each one, from the bebop era to the rock and roll to the R&B. This is all borrowed from, You know what I mean? So it's evolution is that of old meeting a new thought process or a new theory.
I did a capstone project back in college, and it was funny. It was about the evolution of. I compared like businesses to evolution, right? And I talked about how that if a business doesn't evolve, it can just go away. No different than Blockbuster. What killed Blockbuster wasn't Netflix. That's what people believe. It wasn't Netflix. It was what killed them was their unwillingness to accept change.
Exactly.
And to understand that people are not cool with late fees. People want more comfort and control over what they digest. So people say it was Netflix. No, Netflix was just more observant of what was happening and what the consumer wanted, and that's where they were able to evolve.
Because Blockbuster could have been Netflix.
They could have,
and they was head of the game with it.
You know what? Netflix actually went to Blockbuster with that pitch and got pushed out the door. That's why they did their own thing.
That makes no sense.
It does.
Why not? No, not like on your side, but just in the sense of.
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Because you can't see the vision.
You know what I'm saying?
That's like you coming to me and be like, "Yo, man, I got this hot song, and I want to lay it, but I'm an old school, so I don't want to get on this particular song because it don't match my views or where I'm headed." Fair. Right? Instead of respecting your perspective and saying like, "Dang, you might be right."
Yeah.
Because that's how they missed.
And that's how Snoop Dogg stay relevant because he worked with a lot of people, and his sound. I feel like he developed more as a rapper over the years because he's been able to work with so many different people, and you could just hear that in his music.
You know what? I disagree with that. I think what Snoop Dogg got great at was marketing. He was able to market himself outside of the rap game, which made him relevant.
But that's still evolving.
No, right? It is. It is. As far as not as a rapper though, I think he's still the same as a rapper. I think he kind of evolved
primary
more.
Thing, but I mean, musician as an artist, that's what allowed him to, So I think rapper is a normal name that we use for people the way they put the words together, but we could drop that term. I think just.
Well, I was more speaking to his business sense versus him as a rapper. That's more the artist part, but I feel like him as a business, as a brand, Snoop Dogg, the brand, not the rapper, but as the brand, I feel like he started to expand across the board, whether it be Girls Gone Wild, whether it be movies, whether it be... This had nothing to do with rap. It had everything to do with his brand and his business. And I think Master P was the mastermind behind him getting to think outside
he admitted that too.
Being a rapper and being more of a brand. So that's all I was speaking on. And that also speaks to the evolution of music, because when you see people like Snoop Dogg, people like Kanye, people like Jay-Z, and you say, well, what's the life of a rapper after, or what's the life of an entertainer afterwards? It looks more like branding. It looks more like cross promotion with different brands that you might associate with as a rapper.
What Jay-Z said, I'm a businessman, not a businessman. And when you think about it, it resonates.
Simple, but it really hit different.
It hit different once you go back and listen to it. Damn, like, and I like what you said. All the mainstream rappers who have transcended, I guess, the normal life of what we consider somebody should drop out of it, they all have branched out and tried different things and put their name, like 50 Cent. I mean, hell, all the shit he has his hand into.
Yeah, movies.
He don't need to lay another verse ever again.
But he just might.
Rock Nation.
He can if he want to, but he don't have to.
We associate their names with more than just rap, is what I'm saying. After a certain period, after a certain level, that has to be the standard. Like, these guys have to. I feel like even Kendrick Lamar, with him diving into tech, a lot of people don't know that new video that we just watched has a lot to do with his involvement and his investment into tech. There's a tech company that did that video for him, that allowed his face to change, and we couldn't even tell the changes. It was that investment and that conglomeration that allowed that particular artistry to come forefront. So we just gotta be mindful of the moves that's being made behind, so that we're able to make those same notions and obviously go farther. But
so does this tie back to Nas's album where he said hip hop is dead, but really is not dead in a percentage? It's just it transformed into something new.
It has transformed into a business. It's it's not just the art form anymore. You have to know the business side of it. You can't let executives run your your
you got to be
brand.
the
You
executives.
got to be
I mean,
you
you got to be the top dogs.
Yes,
They control your output once
Yes,
they know.
Yes,
Once they're not even once they know anything. They don't have to know anything about you.
Mm-hmm.
But once they know like that you're gonna need this, now they're this for you. You know what I'm saying? Now they're all of you know what I'm saying. They're everything that you need. So in order to get what you want, you have to give them what they want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So in a sense, you're kind of even though you're independent, if you choose like, okay, I'm gonna do this because they like this or that, you're now being conditioned.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? You're being conditioned to give, to get, you know what I'm saying? Which isn't a bad thing, it just depends on what we're talking about.
It's
you know
leverage. It's being able to hedge and leverage your situation and have enough control over your situation to be able to say, this is what I'm gonna do, and this is what I'm not gonna do.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because the moment you accept that advance is the moment that they control everything that you do. So you can't allow money to dictate what you sign. You can't.
Definitely now with the amount of control we had as an independent artist in any form. With me, I can make excuses all day, but I built my show based off my desire to put my content out. I didn't have to negotiate with anyone. I simply created the standards, created my business model, understanding how I wanted to present my information. I had my target listener in mind, and I constantly developed that with every episode. I got to the point to where I was able to define who is my listener, right? Because and I think it would be the same for you guys when you create music. It's like, I'm not making this for everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's going to be people who listen to it, turn it off. There's people going to look at my video, click off of it, and don't give it a moment. But I know the listener I'm looking for is someone who's conservative in nature, but open-minded and have enough free thought to be able to have a subjective outlook on things, who don't go with the mainstream media, what's being pitched to them on TV and certain news outlets. They like to think for themselves and find that voice. That's what I present in my content, in everything. And even with like when I bring musicians on and there's all different type of people, I always try to have a message like what I want to take away. So just some things to close with. What would be something you close with as far as the listener, as far as the evolution of an art form? Because I think what I gather from it is that the evolution depends on not only the listener, because I know the stuff I listened to growing up doesn't. I still listen to it to a degree, but what I listen to now is a lot more cognizant of my growth as a man. As a family man, as somebody who's concentrating on a legacy, somebody who's thinking about those things, and those are the type of artists I listen to, who I could tell they sit there and put their wordplay together, that I had to sit back like, damn, I need to listen to that shit again. Damn, shit was good. So that's what I resonate with, and so I feel like from an evolution standpoint, you as a listener have to evolve, have to be open to listen to different things. But don't be afraid to stand on your grounds.
Yeah, I was about to say something like that. Like you have to be open to millions, hundreds, or even 10 people not liking what you're doing. Because if somebody don't like what you're doing and you know like wholeheartedly this is what I want to do, you know what I'm saying, you close to a breakthrough. That's what I feel that personally. Like, and even with like my music, I used to think in the beginning like, oh, well, they like this. I was wrong every time I was thinking like that. Because if they like it, that means that you're doing everything that everybody else is doing.
Right.
You know, they have to like it, but in the sense of like, I'm not sure about this, but you know what I'm saying, I'll give it to space, and now suddenly I like something I never liked before. That's where the evolution comes in. I think, because it's just like, if you're like, okay, well, Lil Durk did this, so I'm gonna follow this trend, and I'm gonna follow what he did and continue to build. You might get his same crowd in the sense of people who think that same way, but you're not going to be able to reach out to other people outside of that, you know what I'm saying, outside of that aspect, because you're focused on what's important, you know,
to the mainstream, not to what. And I think it's hard to maintain something that you truly don't resonate with. And I think that's where you get a lot of those one-hit wonders who follow the trends. And I think like 6ix9ine is a perfect example of someone who created this persona that for a while it worked for him, but once the truth came out, he really ain't about that life.
Yeah, I think when you do stuff like that, you need to, like, if you're gonna, like, say, if I ain't gonna say if I was 6ix9ine, we ain't even doing that. But I mean, like, like in 6ix9ine's perspective, you know, I can't even speak as him, but like I feel like he realized a little later what was really important in life or what really mattered, because like
they catch them young when they're not mature enough to develop. You know, on their own, they're looking for something. Not to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you good. You
I'm
good.
sorry.
No, you good. I just feel like I feel like he was more based off of popularity than like what in life really mattered. You know what I'm saying? Because like all that, like, you know, the changing hair color and all that, I feel like that may not have been him. You know what I'm saying? But like, you know, I respect the road he went on, like regardless what everybody feels about it, because he was him at a certain point and you could see it, but it was real vague. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot around him. I was like, people was telling him to be this person or telling him to give this off and that out because that's what was important. Like violence, I just feel like it doesn't matter in a sense, because you can have violence whether you promote it or not.
Right.
So if you promote it, you kind of just, you sticking with what, not even what people are liking, what people are seeing the most. And I don't think it, like, if you see it, that's just like I was saying earlier, like, you get 1 million views of people who don't like your music, you still got 1 million views. I feel like it's based off of what you can produce that'll be in people's eyes that they don't necessarily need to see, but they, you know what I'm saying, they choose to see it. You know what I'm saying? If you got 10 people who like trap and one person who likes R&B, depending on how his soul is and how he, you know what I'm saying, how deep he is and what he likes, he might just go ahead and change the trap just because he around all that. You know what I'm saying? It's just basically on environment, and then like, you know what I'm saying, how strong your soul is, you know, because you can lose yourself easily and you won't even feel like you lost it because everybody else like it, so I like it too. I feel like we're all one. You know what I'm saying? It's about like people want to do what other people like. They start to like, you know, condition themselves. You know, I feel like everything we've been saying, it kind of goes all together.
It
like,
is.
You know,
It is.
Conditioning is real like big.
I think evolution is a beautiful thing. I think that it's free forming. I think that art should never have a cap or a stronghold on what it can be or should be. I think that the evolution of this particular art form in which we speak of is that of a flower or a tree, and it's going to become what it needs to become for the people that consume it. So there's no defining term of what an artist should be. So where it's going is where it's gonna go, and we don't have any control over it. We only have control over what we accept within our atmosphere, and everything else outside of that is beautiful too.
I love that. We can't control where it goes, and we can't control what we consume. And I think that the onus needs to go back to the listener, because it's easy, like you said several times throughout this podcast, we could complain so much. Well, this motherfucker ain't making that. This motherfucker ain't making this. Or, you know, I actually had an issue with the podcast that I was watching. And one of the things he said, he was just like, well, if you guys disagree with me, go make your own. I was like, fuck it, I'm going to make my own.
Why not?
Why not?
Because all the podcasters I watch say that. They be like, yo, you don't like this? Turn it off. Yeah.
I mean, because, but then it's the thing too, that you have to respect the artistry and the effort that they put. And it took me doing this to really understand what these people put into their production. Definitely when you're doing it by yourself.
Yes, sir.
You know, making the artwork, making the descriptions, everything you do to put out your content is. I definitely take my hat off to any artists who do that. And I think that the one thing I will say is just to be cognizant of your legacy, of the content that you make, have a purpose, even if, let's say it is violence, right? You're speaking on the culture in which you were brought up, because it does exist. We can't pretend it don't exist.
Exactly.
So I just feel that you have to be cognizant of what you put out and why you're putting it out.
Yeah.
Always keep that in mind. Why am I putting this out? What do I want people to gain from this? And I think that if you keep that in mind, the content, I think as an artist, you will live on.
Yes, sir.
If you're just going with the trends, being something that you're not.
You will transcend if it has purpose attached to it. I guarantee it every time.
But you will not transcend if it don't have purpose.
If it don't, it'll stay with the trend and die with the trend.
Yeah, and it will die with the trend. So, so with this message to all artists in any form, if you want to grow Be willing to challenge the norms. Don't be afraid to step outside of what's being told is good art, because I've learned all of the greatest artists in history, most of their artwork wasn't even liked when they were alive or even appreciated when they were there. I mean, their works and projects be worth millions and billions after they're gone when it's appreciated. So even if you don't feel like it's being appreciated right now while you're alive, trust me, there's always someone who resonates with what you're making, as long as your passion is in it. Don't do it for a trend. Don't do it for that, and you will evolve.
Keep going, keep evolving, keep growing. Once you stop growing, you start dying.
Yeah, definitely.
Straight up.
Well, listen, guys. Thank you guys for being on. It's always a pleasure. I'm gonna have their information. Just if you want to tell the audience just a few ways, this is the camera you can look into. Okay. Romero, you can JayVez, you can look into that too. Either one. But I'm gonna start with you, Dave. But go ahead and let them know how to follow you, any projects you're working on, so they can check it out.
Okay, so I go by the name of Day Luster. My real name is, Davion, but we don't have to. When I'm about to, let me go ahead and give him a little disclaimer. So when I'm about to drop something, I'd rather go by just my artist name, because I want them to really get a sense of how I create and what I create. So like me as Davion, I'm just, just a person. You know what I'm saying? We're all just people trying to figure out what resonates with us the best, and whatever we create, we want them to understand it the same way we understand it, which isn't really like, I won't say it's not realistic, but in a sense it's not, because like no one has your mind. You know what I'm saying? They can take certain pieces that they want to resonate with their life specifically based off what they're going through, or based off of how their mindset already works, because some people aren't willing to change, and we got to understand that too. Man, I had a hard time understanding that, because I'm like, oh, why don't they like this? Why don't they like that? It's not even based off that. You know what I'm saying? You can create something they like, or you can create what you want until they choose to like it. You know what I'm saying? You got to condition them the same way they were already conditioned. If you want them, you know what I'm saying? If you want to live that life, or you want to do things that specifically, you know what I'm saying? But, aside from that, I go by the name of Day Luster, and you can find me on Instagram, on my, Facebook, Davion Luster. I'm trying to figure out how to change that, you know what I'm saying? So I can be Day Luster across all platforms, you know what I'm saying? It's Day Luster on streaming platforms also, but, we can, we'll leave it at that. I give him his time, you know what I'm saying?
Bless it.
Go ahead, I got you on this one.
My name is JayVez. You can find me on IG, humble lion _86. Facebook, JayVez6. You can also follow my band page, Love Locks Experiment, LUVLOCZ EX, on Instagram, Facebook, website, lovelocksex.com. And I got on all streaming platforms, Love Locks Experiment. Got a new project coming out called Strange Fruit. Currently on tour right now, so make sure y'all follow, come check out the show, sign up for that mailing list, and thank you for having me, man. Appreciate you.
That's how we do. That's how we do. And as always, family, thank you for tuning in. If you guys like the content, hit the like button, share it. It's an open discussion dialogue with all my projects. So if you feel we got something wrong, jump in the comments.
Please say something.
Let me say something. Yeah, let us know. And that's what we're here for. So until next time, guys, see you.
Truly.
Peace.